Thank you for joining our webinar today. We've got an exciting session for you focused on a hot topic of how you can manage your project resources using Microsoft's Planner Premium solution, as well as with PROJILITY's PowerPro Accelerator for the Planner Power App. Let's get started. My name is Annie Levand, and I'm with a Microsoft Gold partner called PROJILITY. We've been implementing Microsoft project and portfolio management solutions and developing enterprise-level applications for over 19 years for large enterprises, including everything from engineering, construction, IT, and new product development. PMOs and CIOs typically come to us when they can't easily explain what's going on across all their projects. They don't know what resources are working on what work, and they have a hard time getting consistent reports, metrics, and dashboards to make project-based decisions. We're known for having a 98% on-time, on-budget track record for successfully implementing these solutions for clients. We offer services and solutions in 3 core areas: deployment consulting services, PROJILITY's core business. We provide professional services for successfully planning and implementing Microsoft Project Portfolio Management, including Microsoft Project Online, Planner Premium, integrating PPM with a line of business applications, and delivering strategic portfolio management solutions to support top-level management planning. PROJILITY also offers a set of Hammerhead pre-built solution accelerators based upon 19 years of experience, including a set of Hammerhead products that provide improved access to your cloud PPM data, accelerate access to visual reports and dashboards using Power BI, connect data between your PPM system with Microsoft Teams, and extend connectivity into Active Directory to improve visibility, insight, and control over your work, people, and projects. New to our offerings is Hammerhead PowerPro, which is a pre-built solution crafted on the foundation of Microsoft Power Platform and Planner Premium. This offering is designed to bring some of our lessons learned on this platform to your organization. Finally, PROJILITY provides post-implementation support services, including Expert Care, designed to assist your PMO gaining on-demand expertise on the solution supported. We have a full online automated e-learning offering that can improve consistency and adoption for your users of your project management tools. You can learn more about all of our services and solutions on our website, progility.com. We have upcoming webinars covering sessions on best practices for Project Planner Premium and PPM processes and tools. Sign up for this and all of our events following the links here, or ask for a copy of today's deck. All videos from this and previous series are available on our best practice playlist on YouTube listed on this page. Topics range from managing your digital transformation program using PPM technologies to integrating PPM with agile line of business applications. Feel free to subscribe and access the library at any time and share with your colleagues. For today's agenda, we'll first begin with a summary of what's available from Microsoft in the native Microsoft Planner Premium to support resource management. We'll then move into details on how you can truly expand resource management capabilities using the Planner Power App and PROJILITY's Hammerhead PowerPro solution. We'll then hit on a summary of this solution and the value it can provide your organization around speeding your deployment of this technology and improving overall visibility, insight, control of your portfolio. Finally, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. If you have questions as we go through the presentation, please log them into the questions and answer manager and review them with our presenter. With that, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Bryce Senner, a senior consultant here at PROJILITY. Bryce has been a professional project manager for over 20 years and has been working with Microsoft Project Management and PPM solutions since 1994. As a Microsoft certified professional, he has a deep background in project, SharePoint, and Power Platform technologies required for both traditional and modern PPM. Bryce is based outside of Boston. Bryce, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I'll grab the screen share. Should be able to see the same slide. And so, oops, where did the agenda slide go? There we go. So you covered the agenda? Okay, hold on a second. So today we're going to be looking at the native resource management capabilities in Planner Premium. And then I'm going to also show the enhanced resource management capabilities in our Hammerhead PowerPro solution. And then Annie's going to talk about the Hammerhead PowerPro value add in the Q&A. So I'll start off with that. We have the resource management in Planner Premium. So this is the native capabilities. So the native capabilities of Planner Premium resource management are really geared toward managing resources in that one plan, so in that individual schedule. So it does not really have any visibility across other plans or anywhere across the portfolio into other plans. So we will start with that. I'll show you what's available in the the base tool. And then I'm going to show you the enhanced capabilities that our Hammerhead PowerPro Accelerator enables and unlocks. It allows us to start looking across the entire portfolio to give portfolio-wide resource management. We get all plans in the portfolio. We get all assignments, all resources, all plans, and we get time-phased data of every resource's true capacity, demand, and availability. Allows you to make informed resource assignment and loading decisions. And you can see examples of some of the reports that we have, which I'm going to go through in depth today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start the demonstration. So let me open up my browser. So just to get everyone grounded, this is the new planner experience. So this is the default planner experience, and this is a premium plan inside of that. And you can see we have the grid, the board, the timeline, the charts, the people, the goals, and the assignments. These are all different views that are in a Planner Premium. So that's what you would normally see if you're just going into Planner Premium. But again, this is more of the individual view. So what I'm, in other words, individual plans, you're managing individual plans and not really seeing across the portfolio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the demonstration inside of PowerPro, which is actually inside of a model-driven app. This is Planner Premium, but it's got our solution on top of it. But the key is that, actually, I'll go into a different project. Please give me a second. We have a bunch of other information that gets collected as part of PowerPro. So you can start collecting metadata around the project, baselines, dates, sponsors, everything else, a business case if you want to, with blurbs around it. And then we have risks, issues, changes, status reports, which I'll go through very briefly in a minute. But the main thing is the tasks tab. And the tasks tab is equivalent to the default planner experience where you're managing a schedule. So this here is equivalent to this tasks tab. So what I show you in here is available in the native tool as well. Okay, so let's get started. So the grid view in Planner Premium is your starting view basically, and it allows you to look at it like a schedule you normally would, like in Microsoft Product or something like that, where you get to establish your start, your finish dates, who is assigned to it, your duration, and then some other information around percent completes and some other taggings of buckets and things like that. Now, obviously, resource management in the grid view is pretty simple. You're basically just assigning the resources there for the most part to the tasks. So you're building your schedule out and assigning your resources. So you can see we've got assignments here for the various people. You can use filters and things too, which is helpful. So there's a filters. Sorry if I was too quick there. Let me just show you. There's a filters icon here. You can click it. And then if you go down here, you can actually start to filter and only show the tasks assigned to these various people. So you can quickly find stuff that way. So that's sort of the rudimentary sort of resource, looking at what tasks resources are assigned to inside your project or your plan. Then the next view we have here is the board view, and this board view normally is grouped by bucket, and I don't happen to have any buckets in this plan, but what you can do is you can change this to be grouped by assigned to, and that allows you to see that these are the same tasks that are in the grid and who's assigned to them. There's a bunch of unassigned ones here you can see, but we have Ash, Brooke, and Casey all with their individual tasks. The nice thing about this particular view is you can start to see things like the duration, the bucket, and the finish date. And you can actually reassign tasks simply by dragging. So I could drag develop help system over to Casey, and that would actually change it on the grid as well. So I'm not sure where the develop help system is, but I think that was it right here. So now it's assigned to Casey. And if I go back and pull it over back to Brooke, and then look back at the grid, now you'll see develop help system is assigned to Brooke. So that's a way to get information about the tasks and how they relate to your resources. You obviously still have the filters and everything here too to use. You have the timeline view, which is sort of a visualization of where the tasks are relative to each other in terms of time and lengths. However, if you're trying to like look at all the tasks for maybe Ash, you can click on Ash and now you can see how all of Ash's tasks are hopefully not overlapping, because if they're overlapping, they likely are overloaded. Or you can look at Brooke, for instance, and you can see that Brooke's tasks are further out and also spaced out nicely, so they're not overlapping either. So you can kind of get an idea of loading that way. If you start seeing tasks that are overlapping for a single person, then you know you have that person slightly overloaded. That's the timeline. So charts, there's a handy chart on this at the bottom for effort per person. If you're focusing on effort, you can start to see that Ash has this much, the gray part of this bar is that much work is not started, whereas the green is completed. So you can see it's 80 hours complete, 128 hours not started yet. Obviously, there's other indicators here of in progress, late, and completed if you had some tasks in those particular statuses. On the People tab, it's very much like the Board tab. It's already pre-grouped by person, but you have a couple of advantages here. So one thing you don't have that you do have in the Board is the ability to see like the finish date and stuff right on the card. But the thing you do get, which is nice, is you get the ability to see that like this person has 3 incomplete tasks and no late ones. But let me change plans real quick because I think I had another plan here that has here we go. Yeah, so this one here we have, for instance, 1 incomplete task for Sam or 1 late task for Sam, or you can see both of them by doing that. So that's pretty handy to kind of just get an idea of what tasks are falling late for each person. And then on the Goals tab, we have basically you're able to create a goal and associate tasks to that goal. And by doing that, you can start to see what people are directly related to meeting your goal. So it's, trying to focus on the people that are in that particular goal. You can start to see how those tasks and those people are going to affect your end result. And the last one behind the 3 dots here is the assignments view. The assignments view does require a next level up license. So you can get Planner Premium with the Planner Plan 1 license, and the Planner Plan 3 and 5 licenses are also available, or it's actually Project Plan 3 and 5 licenses. And those, you need a 3 or a 5 to get to this view. But this view allows you to start seeing how many hours per day if you want to, or you could change by week or month or year, but day is probably the most helpful in this case. So you can start to see, Taylor is assigned to this task 8 hours per day for that week. We can go to the next week and see that Sam is on this task for 8 hours a day. And then if we keep going forward, I think we start getting more. I think it's basically sequential tasks. So you get the idea, though. We have the ability to show how many hours per day, and you can actually adjust this too. So I could change this to 4 hours on that day, and that will actually adjust the remaining work to try to maintain the remaining work. Or you could change this and just kind of contour the work for yourself, and then work with that to get what you're looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo all of that, so we get back to the baseline. But those are the out of the box experiences for resource management. You can see that you're able to do some things. You don't have a lot of information about how people are overloaded, except for maybe looking at the timeline view and starting to see, where tasks are in that timeline, and whether people are double booked here and there. And you're able to get some, basic information about the people. But I also don't know right now whether, Ash Armstrong is overbooked on because of another project. So it could be that Ash or Sam or Taylor are all on another project at the same exact time and are also overbooked, and therefore are gonna have a problem meeting my needs in my project. So that's where we break away from the native experience, and now we're going to start talking about the PROJILITY Hammerhead PowerPro accelerator, which, as I mentioned already, adds the ability to collect all this metadata around a project, business case. You can start creating risks in it. Let me go back to the other plan. You can create risks on a project and collect metadata about those. And probability and impact levels, which give you an exposure, describing what the risk is and assigning it to a person. Same with issues. You can track changes. So you can put in a change request if you want to, and have a change control board or something review that change and decide whether they want to let it go forward or not. And then we have like a status report where you can put in like a rolling history of status reports that are based on whatever date you're putting them in. This one happens to only have one status report, but the idea is that you can start collecting KPIs and report on your current status of the project with narratives and everything else associated with each KPI if you wish to. So that being said, we also, of course, have other organization methods here, like programs, where you can put a bunch of plans into a program and organize them that way. We also have the project initiation part of things with the project request. I'm not going to dive into those because we're here focused mainly on resource management. So what I will do is first show you the My Work report. So the My Work report is very handy because instead of having things like emails get sent out to notify people that a task was assigned or is late or whatever else, it's hard to keep track of that. People end up usually ignoring the emails and things like that. So this gives them a one-stop shop to come to and get a consolidated view across multiple different projects. You'll notice a bunch of different project names here, and all their tasks and which ones are late based on this like KPI here, which ones are, overdue, late, and on track. Sorry about the pop-ups. I'll use this instead, but you can start seeing the KPIs here, which is nice. Get an idea of the percent complete, the effort, start and finish and duration. And then also you have the ability to sort of look at it by project by clicking on these slicer graphics up here. You can start seeing how many tasks you have in each project, maybe even how many tasks are by project department. So you have a couple projects that are in the business analysis department, 12 of them actually, and we have 5 in the database administration. And these are all of the different tasks in those projects. You can also look at the tasks by status. So that's helpful. If you need to go and maybe adjust this task and maybe add some completion, maybe this one's saying it's overdue, but really you finished it. So you could go here to this link, and that will actually bring you directly back to the tasks tab for that project. And then you can find your task and make the adjustment that you need to. So obviously I could just go here and filter by my own name. In this case, I'm pretending to be Ash, and then I can start filling out the completion of that task or whatever I need to do. Popping back to the My Work report, the other 2 tabs that we've got here are My Risks and My Issues. So these are consolidating all of the risks and issues across, in this case, these 4 different projects. So you can see them and again, link directly to them and pop over and maybe change the status from active to closed and put in your final mitigation plan or contingency plan or whatever it happens to be. And then similarly, we have the issues here as well. So you can see all your issues across the portfolio. In this case, I've just got the one on this one project, and it's a priority high. So I better keep an eye on it. You do have the link again to bring you directly back to it so you can adjust it. So that's the My Work report. That's very handy for an individual contributor to be able to understand their work across the whole portfolio. So now, what if I instead am a portfolio manager, or even better, a resource manager, and I want to start looking, or even a project manager, and I want to start seeing how my resources are being utilized across those other projects or plans. So we have this pack of resource reports, and these resource reports are pulling from every resource, every plan across the whole portfolio, and consolidating it all here in a variety of different tabs that you can see across the bottom. So if you look down here, you'll see a bunch of tabs. I'm going to walk us through each one of these quickly to get us acclimated. And then I'm going to double back with sort of a user story around being a resource manager in charge of a certain department and trying to understand if your people are overloaded. So quickly, let's get our bearings. The resource pool tab, it basically shows us all the resources that are in the system and gives us the basic information about them. Is it a person? Is it a generic role in this case? These are generic, like a generic business analyst, a generic DBA, database administrator, and a generic developer. Those can be used, generics can be used to represent, as a placeholder, represent a type of person that you need, but you don't exactly know who you're going to get assigned yet. So you might be drafting your project plan together and you need to put a placeholder in there for a developer, but you don't know whether it's going to be, Sam or if it's going to be Ash. Sorry about that. And so you need to put a placeholder in there. Now, they do not have capacity, and that's on purpose. So target utilization is the same thing as capacity, so the amount of availability to do work. And in case you don't understand this particular setup, it's 0 to 100. Sorry about that, my mouse keeps messing up on me, but 0 to 100 percent, basically. So it's like of an 8-hour day or a 40-hour week, 100% means 40 hours, 8 hours per day. 50% means 4 hours, 20 hours. 4 hours per day, 20 hours per week. 75% is obviously 6 hours per day and 30 hours per week. So that just establishes how much they are available to work, and then will basically indicate to the rest of these reports when to highlight them as overloaded. So if they're greater than, in this case, 4 hours a day or 20 hours a week, it will highlight them as overloaded. Okay, so moving forward, we have tasks overview. Now, these two reports that I'm going to show right now are really more overview reports. They're not really getting into the capacity and demand yet, but all the rest of them after that do. But let's quickly go through these. So you'll notice this looks very familiar. Looks a lot like the My Work report, My Tasks report. But except this is all resources across all projects, not just the me, right? In the My Work report, it was just me. So now you can start to see, what tasks on which projects are late, overdue, late, on track, or in the future. And again, we have links that direct us back to those particular projects if you need to make adjustments. Obviously, we have the ability to filter by person. In that case, those are all of Ash's tasks. We can look at all of Brooke's tasks here, maybe Vic's task. And you can also go by project, and you get a bunch of other information here. I won't spend too much more time on that. It is more of an overview report, but you can see that you are indicating whether you're late on your start date or your finish date, or both, and then also indicating what your percent completes are. The assignments overview tab takes that same information, but sort of reorganizes it into a tree that goes resource, project, and then task. So for instance, if I'm looking at Ash, I can unfold Ash and see that they have assignments across the entire portfolio on these projects. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whereas Brooke, for instance, actually they're on very similar set. Let's look at Taylor. Taylor only has one project that they're working on, and Vic has just the one as well. So that's a way to kind of get an idea of how many projects people are assigned to. This is filtered for active projects at the moment, so you're not considering closed old projects or assignments there. If you want to get down even further and start to see, well, what tasks are they assigned to inside the health assessment reporting tool project, you just unfold it, and now I can see that Ash on the health assessment reporting tool is assigned to these 6 tasks, and you can see the percent completes and whether they're late, late start or whatever, and also the amount of effort that's been completed on them and how much effort is remaining on them. And again, we have the typical Power BI stuff where you can start saying, okay, I want to see all the tasks that are future tasks, or completed tasks, or overdue tasks, and that starts to filter everything. You can unfold to bring it down. Anyway, that's the assignments overview report. Now here's where the magic really starts to happen. This is our first report. This loading overview report is our first report that really starts to deal with capacity versus demand. So this is where you're starting to now think, all right, great. I know what they're assigned to. I know what projects they're assigned to, but are they overloaded? And so let's just walk through this a little bit first. We've got a bunch of counters over here on the left that kind of count and summarize things up. We've got the number of tasks for each person listed here. We've got tasks by status, and then here we've got effort completed and remaining. So we can see that Brooke actually has the most amount of effort assigned, and they've gotten some completed. And Taylor has the least amount, and you can actually hover and see that they have 48 hours remaining. And up here on Ash, you can see that there's 1,500 hours remaining and 228 completed. So you can get an idea of kind of like who's in demand in a general overall sense. Again, this report is an overview report. So we're going to get into more detail as we keep progressing across the report pages. But here, the planned work and capacity by year and month is really helpful. This is to show you that overall, as an organization, you are you are underutilizing your people, or you're not overloading them is a better way to say it. You have your capacity line here. So this is the amount of capacity that everyone has to do work, and this is the amount of work being requested or being planned for everyone. Now, what you can do is you can start using filters to start looking at individual people, for instance. So I can look at Ash in particular, and I can see that Ash as a person is overloaded over their capacity in May, but then, underloaded the rest of the year. We're going to come back to this and look at it in a case study where you're like a department manager and you're trying to understand all the people in your department are who's overloaded and who's not. So we're going to come back to this a little bit, but I will show you one extra thing, which is that you can drill in. Actually, first let's expand it. We can expand it and focus on it, make it big, and then you can go further and drill down into the day level. So now you can start seeing every day. And again, let's go back to Ash for a minute. And you can start seeing, well, Ash is like perfectly loaded a lot of days, but then overloaded on these days, and then perfectly loaded and then not used at all on these days. And so you can start getting some details. Of course, you're going to want to know which projects and which tasks, which are on some of the other report pages. I will show you those shortly. So let's go ahead and go to the next report here. So we have, this one's a lot of fun. This is the availability heat map. So first of all, let's define what availability means. Availability is your capacity, so your 40-hour week that you have available to work, minus the amount of demand put on you or the amount of planned work. So in other words, if I have let's call it 30 hours planned on my 40-hour week, I would have 10 hours availability left. So what you're instantly noticing here is that there's a lot of red, and we already know that Ash is overloaded in the month of May, and this is just proving it. And it's telling you quantifiably how much they're overloaded. 96 hours overbooked. Brooke is also 32 hours overbooked. Casey is 64 hours overbooked. The generics you'll notice have zero capacity when they don't have assignments because they have zero capacity. But when they do have assignments on them, it'll just drive their availability negative, and it just tells you that you've got some unallocated demand. So you've got some demand to do work for a developer, and you need to find a person to take that work on. That's what that's telling you. So that's very handy because then you can execute on that. We will do that on the user story when we come back. And then here you've got, for instance, Sam, Taylor, and Teddy. They're all green. They all have some work that they can still be doing. They do have assignments, and it is reducing their capacity, but you can see that they do have a lot of work capacity available. Vic has some assignments in May, so they're getting reduced in capacity, but then they start becoming much more available as the time goes on. So that's how to read that. Now the next thing is you can go to a version of that same report that's done by week. So you can get just down a little bit further and start seeing, okay, now it's based on a 40-hour week in most cases. You can see that Ash is actually perfectly utilized in these weeks. Zero means that they've got 40 hours of effort and no availability left. But they're over allocated by 40 or 24 or 32 or 8 in these other weeks. And then they become available again, and then they're not available, and then they are available again. The other thing to point out here is that if you recall, Taylor Tobin and Teddy Tester were reduced capacity people, and that's being reflected here. So remember, Taylor was a 50% person. You can see that over here on the resource pool, 50%, and Teddy was a 75% person. So that's being reflected here, where they only have available 30 hours maximum and 20 hours maximum. Now here it says 12 because they've got some work that week, and that's reducing their 20 down to, they must have 8 hours of work there. So that's how to read that. And then the time-phased assignments is showing us either by month or by week or by day. You can start to see where that demand is coming from. So we can see, I went back to the month. We can see that month of May where Ash was overloaded. We can actually just focus on May 1st, and then we can start to unfold it, and we can start to see which projects they've got going on, and then you can drill in and see which tasks they have. And then you can go to the next level and start seeing by week, and then do the same exercise, kind of start sorry, that one doesn't have any work. This one here, start unfolding to see this is the rate module task inside the Acme ERP. And then here we've got the health assessment reporting tool to conduct needs analysis. So we're going to, again, come back to that. But this is telling you like the source of the demand. The task timeline is another way to visualize tasks. If you would like to look at it like a Gantt view and you kind of want to see whether they just look like they're overlapping, you can start to see that Ash definitely has some overlapping tasks here. These tasks are overlapping, and you can see that it's on this project and then on these projects, Health Acme and then Health Assessment, and then even Cloud Odyssey is getting in there and overloading them. So that's just another way to visualize the data. Okay, so let's run back. We've got about 15 minutes or so for me to run through a user story and pretend like I am a department manager or a resource manager. So let me just refresh the reports here, get back to baseline. And so now I'm going to pretend like I am the manager of the department for development, so development department. And in that, we actually have developers. So you can see that we've got people tagged as developers here, and they also happen to be in the development department. It's pretty one-to-one in this test environment, but obviously you might have some matrixed people in different technical departments, but they're all developers. They all have the same role, but they might be in someone else's management structure. So you might have some deltas here. But in this case, in this particular instance, we have the developer is always in the development department. So that's who I'm going to focus on right now. I'm going to pretend like I am the manager of the development department. So what I can do now is I can either select by department, or instead I can clear that and select by role. Either way, kind of gets me the same place in this environment. And what that's done is it's filtered on all pages. So this is important. So from here on out, the entire report pack is going to be filtered for just the developer role or department. So you'll notice that took the resource pool and reduced it down to the people I care about. So we've got Ash, Sam, Taylor, and Vic, who are real people. They're not generic. You'll notice here it says, is generic? No. This is the only outlier. Oh, sorry about that. So the generic developer is the only one that is, again, the placeholder person. So they are generic. They have no capacity. And they basically work as a role to hold place for demand until we decide to assign Sam or Taylor or Vic or Ash. So now I've got that set. I'm going to go to my tasks overview. I could start to see, okay, this is everything my people are working on, only my people. And so I can start seeing, all right, I apparently need to go and talk to Ash because Ash, Taylor, and Sam all have late tasks that are overdue. And we apparently have one that's also late for Ash as well here. So then I might start going and talking to them and saying, hey, why are we running behind on these tasks? Can you help me out in understanding that? Or if you're a PM, obviously you do the same sort of idea. So that's the task overview and the assignments overview. Again, now I can start seeing these are just my people. What are they working on? Start unfolding them and start to see, all right, we've got a bunch of people on the presentation system upgrade. We've got Ash is working on a ton of other things. and everyone else is just working on presentation system upgrade. So Ash is the most diverse in what they're being applied to. Again, you can dive in and start to see, what tasks are they working on. Okay. So the loading overview, now again, this is filtered again by just the developers. So you're only seeing my people up here. And I can start seeing that my team as a whole is not fully utilized. But that's not the whole story. If I start going person by person, again, Ash overbooked. Generic developer has some demand out in July and August, so I'll need to deal with that at some point. Sam is way underutilized. Taylor is way underutilized. And Vic is more utilized, but still underutilized. They're getting close to their May capacity, but not quite there yet. But we know we've got a problem with Ash. So again, I could drill in on this and start to see like the daily allocation, but this is just telling us where we have, like when we have a problem. It's not telling us which project yet, so, or by how much. Although you could actually look at it. There are pop-ups here, so you can sit here and hover, and it tells you that you have 176 capacity against 128 planned work, but there's a better way to look at that. And that's the availability heat map by month. So I think I have Vic. Let me clear that filter. So now I'm looking at, again, my people. So this is just my team, and I can start seeing where the problem areas are very clearly. There's red here, red there, and red there. So two things. What this tells you is that Ash as a person is overloaded, and these people could potentially pick up that work if they have the right skill set. And I should probably think about doing that. The second thing that this tells me is that I've got some demand coming up in July and August that needs to be put on a person. Whether that's Ash or Sam or Taylor or Vic, it doesn't matter. I just need to make a decision as a resource manager who I'm going to apply that to. Okay, now if I needed to see the next level of detail, I could go by week and see that same information just now broken down, 40-hour week, basically. But I'm just going to keep focusing on month for now. And what I need to, my first goal right now is to find a place to put this 96 hours of overage, take it off of Ash and put it on maybe Sam, maybe Taylor, maybe split it between Taylor and Vic. I got to go make a decision. So to do that, I'm going to go to my time-phased assignments report and start unfolding. First, I'm going to focus on May because that's my problem month. And I'm going to unfold Ash and say, all right, these are the projects. Let's see what they're working on inside those projects. And now I can see, all right, well, we've got all these things happening. Review preliminary software specs. Maybe I can say Taylor has the skill set to do that. We know that Taylor has availability to do 72 hours of work, which we can very easily see by popping back to the month, and we can see Taylor definitely has almost exactly 72 hours. They have 80 hours available. So maybe that's a good one to give Taylor. So that'll take off 72 of the hours, and then I've still got to find a place for whatever 96 minus 72 is. So let's call it like this 24 hours. Let's take that 24 hours off of Ash. And so I'm going to pop back over and say, all right, let's say Taylor's already been allocated. So let's put it on Sam. Sam has the skill set to do that particular type of task, which was preliminary software specs. So, you could do it, you could handle it that way. Or, in this case, quite honestly, I'd probably look at this total of 72 plus 24 and the fact that it's on the Cloud Odyssey project. And instead of assigning it between those two people, probably what would make more sense is to just look at Sam and say, could Sam do both of those? Probably yes. So just put both things on Sam and then just make the reassignment. And tell the PM, I guess, to make the reassignment from Ash to Sam on those two particular tasks. So you could literally just send a screenshot to the PM and say, all right, please grab these two tasks and turn them from Ash to Sam. Now, maybe that's not quite the level of detail you want. You want to know a little bit more granular exactly what's happening and when they're overloaded. That's when you can start using the by week method here. So now I can say, all right, well, I'm overloaded all the way, but by week, I've got, 40 overage, 24 overage, 32 overage. Who's got the time to do that? Again, Sam does. So maybe I just go move all of that work to Sam. Taylor wouldn't, because Taylor has reduced capacity. And then Vic would for at least these 2 weeks, but then, and maybe this week as well, but then not for these 2 weeks. So Vic would be a bad choice if we're trying to allocate this to in those particular weeks. So it's probably best to do a lot of this in the week form, so you can really make sure that you're not just looking at all 4 weeks as the overall number, but you're actually looking at the details. But it can be helpful to use the by month to just understand where the big picture problems are, and then dive into the week to see where the granular problems are. And again, the time-phased assignments can help you with that too. So you can go by week. We can focus on April and May, or just May if we want to. And now we can start to see what assignments are on who, and make the changes accordingly. Sorry, I think I lost my developer filter there. So that's now our people. Okay, so that remarkably is actually most of what I had to present. Let me see if I missed anything. No, I think we're in pretty good shape. So, so Annie, if you want to open the floor for Q&A or take back over, you're welcome to.
Yeah, shifting gears here. Thanks, Bryce, for the good presentation. Hopefully folks walked away with some takeaways. First, we saw Microsoft's Planner Premium solution can help you plan and manage resources across your most important projects. It's not just about projects and tasks. Without resources, we don't get a full picture of what work can be done when. Next, which tool you use is driven by what you as an individual, team, or organization need to do. Whether you're a project manager or just trying to manage and report on your individual projects, or a full PMO or transformation office looking to get organized across their portfolio of projects and resources, Planner can help. And then finally, to keep in mind, at PROJILITY, our sole focus is on helping make you successful with your project management initiatives. To that end, we've developed our PowerPro solution, which you saw today, to help accelerate your ability to deploy these solutions, relying on almost 20 years of experience and good practices. We can save you time, money, and in the long run, be a partner you can rely on as your trusted advisor. To that end, if you're looking for more details on our PowerPro solution, please do reach out to us. It's a solution designed to help bring and put a solid structure in place within the Planner Power app that leverages basic Microsoft Planner licenses, is fully customizable, and is flexible to meet your current and growing organizational needs. The accelerator is available with our professional consulting services to ensure you are never on your own with the solution, and can be coupled with our annual ProCare support agreements, so you always have a partner to rely on as your needs, vision, and realities of your business change. We'll now open the floor to questions and answers. Remember to enter your questions in the question answer manager at the top of your team screen. Let's see if there's any questions in the queue. I am not seeing any questions here. You can give it another moment or we can move on. All right, if there's no questions, we'll move on, but feel free to reach out to us. And if you're interested in exploring the use of Microsoft Planner to manage and report on your portfolio of projects, resources, and work, like I said, reach out. Our team can assist with helping you understand and evaluate your options, including laying out a roadmap for deploying some of the technology, developing a plan for implementation, as well as guiding you on the support required for success. Our contact information is included here, including a link to our website with lots of good info on the services and solutions available to accelerate your rollout of all the Microsoft project and work management products. Additionally, if you already own Microsoft Plan licenses, like most do, and would like guidance on what you can do to best maximize these, let's have a conversation. We can provide options for which technology is the right fit for your PMO, IT organization, or business groups. Microsoft has plenty of different offerings, but there's no one size fits all with project management tools. Thank you again for joining our webinar today. We appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you online for our next session. Have a great day.